Welcome to F101 with Friends, your pit stop for all things Formula One. Whether you're here for the stats, the memes, or just figuring out what a chicane is, we've got you covered. Buckle up, because the fun starts right now. Hi everyone, my name is Nisha, a newbie F1 girlie who is desperate to make more friends so that I can talk about this sport all the time. Each week, a new guest will join me on this journey, from seasoned F1 fans to other curious newcomers, and we will explore what it is about this million-dollar sport at gravity-defying speeds that we just can't stop watching. We'll try to break it all down in a way that's fun, relatable, and hopefully try to explain some of the tech talk. Welcome to a special episode as we approach the summer break, where the cars stop but the cameras never do. This week we're shifting gears from the racetrack to the media machine behind Formula One. Because let's be real, how did this elite European motorsport become a global pop culture phenomenon that even has the kids in America saying, pole position? So joined by a PR expert, Laura, we dive into how F1 sells not just speed, but storylines, star power, and status. And welcome to the show.
Thank you, I'm delighted. Hi, Nisha.
And Laura is one of the most ardent fans of F101 with Friends. She is the motivation for me to keep making episodes. So thank you. Every time on one of the episodes when we say shout out to that one fan, it's Laura. It's basically
It's me. I listen when I go before work on my little walks, and then I text you with questions usually, yes. Or oh, that was fun, that was interesting. So yeah, I'm delighted to be on. Thanks for having me.
Laura, you have had an F1 experience, right, in the past. So can you share a little bit about how you heard about F1 or been part of F1 before this podcast?
Okay, so I used to live in China, and my dad used to work for a company that made ball bearings for one of the, I want to say F2 teams. And it was when the Shanghai Grand Prix, sort of the first iteration of it was happening. Mm-hmm. And we got invites to go, and I was, I think, 18 and oh, fine, I don't know what this is, but I'll go. and I actually had the best experience because, which I didn't know was happening, but I was in the pits.
Yeah.
I was in the, whatever it's called, the sort of with the engineers. I had the headphones in. I was with the engineers. I spoke to Fernando Alonso, which I think it was him. I'm pretty sure it was him. I saw Michael Schumacher. I saw, Niki Lauda. And I said to my dad, who's that weird dude with all the burnt face with his hat on? And Dad said, that's Niki Lauda, you idiot. And I was like, I don't know who that is. I had to go home and Google it. So I actually had a great experience, a privileged experience without knowing really what it was. And my overriding memory of it was, A, it's better to watch it with the engineers with a headphone and screen.
Yes.
If you can afford it at some point.
Yes.
And then B, I was amazed that my brain couldn't comprehend the speed. So I kept thinking, oh my God, the cars are going to take off. It's too quick. That really was my overarching memory of just the speed of them.
That is so cool. I think this is the closest that I will come to meeting Fernando Alonso, a 3 degrees of separation.
We'll see. Never know. You never know.
Fingers crossed. One day he's on the podcast. But before we get into the PR of the sport itself, there's a question which actually I picked up from you, from your podcast, which I then use, modified and use for the guests who come to this one, which is, if you were at a dinner party with F1 drivers, what would you like to say to them?
Okay, so I probably realized that if I was at a dinner party with all of them, asking them about their tax dodging status probably isn't a conversation starter. That's my only beef with all of them. So I think I would, because I don't know enough to ask them insightful questions, I think I would just treat them like humans and just sort of spark up a conversation and talk about anything but F1. I think that's what I would do. So like
Yes.
talk about literally whatever they wanted to talk about and just have a casual chat is what I would do.
And I think they would appreciate that. I think after some time they do get tired of talking about cars, unless of course it's Max Verstappen, who will talk about anything that is drivable.
Yeah, I think I might have a trouble striking up a conversation with him not about cars. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Like it's going to happen. But if it did happen, I will. Yes, I think the answer would be for me just work the room, as it were, as a proper PR. Yes. Also, I would be like, right, I'm signing you up to the podcast, obviously. Every single one of you. Let's get your diaries out while I have you. I got my friend Nish has got a podcast. When can you do it? Good, thanks. And then that's what I would do, obviously.
I love that. Thank you. But that would be awesome. But let's rewind a little bit and talk about PR and marketing in F1, because there's no way that this sport would have become as popular without effective money going into promoting it, right? So 70s and 80s, that's the time when Formula One was not just fast, it was flamingly branded, because back then the grid was clouded in smoke, thanks to all the tobacco money. Cigarette brands like Marlboro, Camel, and Lucky Strike were plastered across the liveries, and when regulators began cracking down on tobacco advertising in the early 2000s, the teams got creative. So, Laura, if you had an F1 team and you were just about to go racing, and you know all your sponsors are plastered all over the car across the livery, and then you find out that the circuit has banned a bunch of your sponsors, what would you do?
Okay, well, if I haven't died from the heart attack ensued from, I would, I'd make a scandal in the press, immediately get my PR person to tell every press person in the pack this has just happened, just to, get ahead of it. And then I don't know, I guess you have to race, right? So do you just put a bit of tape on all of them? Is that a thing you could even just do? And then, deal with the fallout from the sponsors later.
Yes, that's exactly what some of the teams decided to do, right? So it happened very steadily because not all the tracks had the cigarette ban. So some teams would either just remove the logo, paste something on top of it, on top of the livery, so that you can't see. But this was starting to get expensive because, like you said, some of the sponsors weren't very happy. So they were cutting down their budgets as well. The teams then evolved, circumventing the rules to just simply remove the name of the logo, right? So you still have the logo, but just not the name of the brand. And sometimes the logos are so iconic, you know exactly what it is. The one thing that I really liked was Williams had this huge Rothmans sponsorship, and it was on the spoiler, a huge Rothmans, right? And so what they did was they just ran the whole thing with just a question mark in blue with a white background, and everyone knew exactly what it was.
It's genius.
The other one, which is more interesting, was Marlboro, that stayed on the Ferraris, but not by name. What they did was essentially they created a barcode, and when the car moved really fast at 300 kilometers per hour, it looked exactly like the Marlboro logo.
That's great. That's really good. Gosh, that's good marketing.
That is some clever, kudos to that marketing team. Someone must have stayed up all night and thought about, how do I do this without getting caught out? They also had this thing called Mission Winnow, which was like a program that they used to spend money on, which is supposed to help create smoke-free zones. But the logo of that, it was an M and a W. And when you put it together, a red M, a red W with white in the middle, it looked exactly like the Marlboro logo.
Perfect. Gosh, yes. That's creative. I love that creative stuff. I love all of that.
Yes, exactly. As the years progressed and smoking became, or tobacco became, less appreciated, and especially like smoking in public spaces was looked down upon and things like that. And then all the circuits, of course, started putting their ban on tobacco advertising. They did take it off, and the logos vanished, and so did the names. Now, if you were running an F1 team in 2026, who would you go for sponsorships if you wanted big money?
Big money. Okay. So I think I would target women as a sector. Because I think if you're a man and you like cars, you're good. You're already like, you're either in F1, like into F1, or so if you're not. Like, I don't know that feels pretty saturated. And obviously there is a drive, pun intended, to get to more women. So I think the sponsors might be a bit left field. So I think I'd like to do hyper luxury food, hyper luxury chocolate, hyper luxury makeup, because I think I'd want it to create an experience. So you want it to become comfort watching, or like something that women would like to watch without it sort of like something that that's ownable for them to watch, as opposed to, oh God, my husband watching this, so I have to watch this. So that's what I would do. And I would be I think I would change a lot of not change, but I would make the content and the way that it's talked about accessible, not too technical. Not to say women aren't technical. That's not the point. The point is just to make it accessible, for sort of, an entry level experience, basically. So that's what I would do. And I would also try and equate it to other luxury sports that are more female heavy, like, show jumping, all of that type of stuff. I saw something recently. I like horses, and, there's a show jumping event that happens in Monaco, and everybody was sort of saying, instead of sort of saying, this is the show jumping ring, they're saying the real flex is using the Monaco racetrack to show jump, or like with the real horsepower. So like I would link the two sports, and that's a female dominated sport. And I would, you can make the horsepower pun, you can do all of that. I would link the two. They're both ultra luxury. And I think that's who I would go for.
Oh, that is so cool. I mean, the horsepower thing is amazing. And Monaco definitely demands that kind of branding and sponsorship, because, just the wealthiest of wealthy stay over there. And for everyone else who's watching it, it's very aspirational. So, that would be really cool. I like that.
Let's do it.
We only need $500 million. I don't know how much it costs to join F1 in 2026.
Well,
it would mean a lot of money. A lot of money.
Sponsors for this podcast. Come on, sponsors. Do it.
In today's scenario, the grid is drenched in tech, finance, and crypto money. So that's where the big money comes from, right? If you watch any of the races, or even if you just see the cars, you'll see Oracle, Google, AWS, Qualcomm, all stamped across Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes. And because the cars are a hybrid car, it's not just fuel powered, you also have tech element or an EV element of it. There is a lot of tech involved, even in the data analytics and all of that portion. So you have companies like CrowdStrike that sponsor Mercedes. You have Keeper Security for Williams. And Laura, I don't know if you remember, there was a CrowdStrike outage a couple of months back. And a lot of the tech companies were creating statements about, oh, hey, don't worry, we've got everything in place. Your data is protected. The most amazing photo that I saw, because at that time it was free practice was going on, was all the Mercedes screens blue.
Ooh.
Nobody could see anything. It was the blue screen of death in that team. They had no idea where their car was. They had no data. They had no analytics running on anything. Cybersecurity companies actually make a huge difference to these teams as well. And of course, the next bit is the crypto, which you have OKX and Bybit. These have popped up. Some of these partnerships have fizzled out, but McLaren still has OKX on their spoiler. So that's where the big money is. Of course, we are missing one other portion of very, very big money. Do you have any guesses?
Is it oil companies?
It is oil companies. It is oil companies and essentially sports washing, right? I'm sure you've seen this across sports, not just in F1, is that there's been an influx of races and sports events in the Middle East. There are 4 Middle East races currently. The thing that I find interesting is places like Saudi Arabia, where up until very recently, women weren't even allowed to drive. but they have the F1 Academy races there, right? People can dress however they want. You have the F1 presenters, the journalists. They are wearing whatever they want, and nobody is saying a single word because of all of that money that's coming in. So you have races in the Middle East. You have a huge sponsorship from Aramco. In fact, a couple of races back, I saw the Aramco comms person on the podium giving the award to someone, and I was wondering, should I change jobs? Should I go work for Aramco? Will I get that opportunity? And then, of course, you have the president of the FIA, who is Mohammed bin Sulayem, also an Emirati. So there is a huge influence of the Middle East and oil money, of course, into this sport. But if I think about it, and here's my question to you, is the sports washing, is it a real problem for actual motorsports or just any sports in general? Or is it just something for like media and for podcasts like us to discuss?
I think it's a problem. I think outside of the sport even. So I don't think that PR folks and journalists sort of make up the controversy. Yes, I think they can feel the flames. Yes, feel the flames in it.
Yeah.
Of the controversy, but I think the fact that there's sort of these like exceptions to the rules to showcase these countries are as these sort of modern sort of democratic states, etc. through sport. Yeah, I tend to think it's problematic, but I guess the pull is, like you were saying, the money. Like, what are they going to do? You're not going to race? Like, Qatar hosted the World Cup. Everybody was up in arms about it, but people still watched and still went. So if there's no change behind it, it feels empty. Like it's an empty controversy. If you're actually going to leverage it to have real change, then let's push it. But if it's literally just, I refuse to do this because X, Y, and Z, well, yeah, but then nothing's actually happened off the back of it. I also think it's interesting. I would also like to understand from a marketing perspective, the ROI of it. Like how much does Aramco actually get back? Or is it a prestige investment? Because reputationally it's damaging. Because you've got people like us saying sports washing, boo, boo, boo.
Yeah.
I wonder what the ROI is, because it's a huge amount of money to sponsor. So is it, and it's the obvious thing to sponsor if you're an oil company, right? Yeah. So fine. You've got the relevance. You've got the prestige. I would love to know on a marketing presentation when the CMO of Aramco goes, hi guys, here's what we get for I don't know how many millions we spend a year. I'd love to know what they get. Now maybe that's not quantifiable. Maybe it's just to keep establishing their dominance. Maybe that's it. But I would love to know from a pure marketing perspective what the ROI is on all of these sponsors. Salesforce.
That's true.
Salesforce is so smart with who they sponsor. Salesforce is a CRM company. I mean, I like Salesforce, but it's pretty boring in terms of what they actually do, right?
Yes.
But who they sponsor and who they go after and the sort of the vibe that they create as a cool leading edge tech company is fantastic. And the link to F1 is tenuous at best. I've seen their advert. It's tenuous, but they've found one. And I just find that interesting, and I'd love to know what the ROI is. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to find out how the decision gets made to spend that money and what they get out of it. Okay, yes, I'm sure they get access to the drivers to do some cool ads. But even that, which is a marketer's dream, right? We would love to have that. But what is it what's the actual benefit in terms of hard sales, hard bottom line? That would be my question on it. So I think, sports washing is an issue. I think it's a controversy, and I think, but I think ultimately if it doesn't need to change or if the people involved just sort of back out of it, then it's an empty controversy because it's going to happen anyway. Too much money.
Yeah. It is too much money. And you did spoke about Qatar hosting the World Cup and things like that, right? I remember there was a huge controversy surrounding beer because when you go for football matches, essentially all of the European fans, they like to drink. And
shocking.
One of the biggest issues.
It's all the Brits.
One of the biggest issues was, hey, this is it's haram. So how are you going to... And initially Qatar was saying, no, that's fine. We're sponsoring with Budweiser or Heineken or whatever it is, and we'll make sure that there's beer. And then a day before, they said, oh, guess what? We're not selling beer. Like, you can sit here sober if you like. So they have the power to do that, to essentially trick everyone, build these stadiums using, slave labor, right? Let's just call it what it is. And not cater to the basic needs of a football fan, that is beer, and still get away with it. So, you're right, we can talk about it as much as we want, but it's as long as there's money, they're going to keep doing this, and we're just going to go attend these races or watch these sports and then complain about it later, I guess.
Or not. Like, I think that's the point, right? If fans actually don't go, if fans because that is a power. If for a brand, the sponsor or not sponsored becomes too controversial for them, they're not going to do it, because it is all about the bottom line and all the reputation. But how do you galvanize hundreds of millions of fans to go, do you know what, guys, we don't agree with this, we're not going to do it? That's actually the real effort to be made for people who want change. Don't go after the corporations. Don't hate on the very creative marketing. Go get the fans to actually stop doing what they enjoy. And that's the point, right? Because one person not going to the World Cup isn't going to do it. If there is a 20% decline in World Cup attendance, people are going to think about it. Same in F1. If these races aren't well attended or aren't even watched, then people will go where the money is. And so I think that is a way to get to it. But again, who does that? Like, who's going to galvanize the fans, etc.?
And the thing is, to add to that, you were talking about clever marketing. The kind of marketing that I've seen for the Bahrain GP is incredible. The prices are absolutely slashed. Like, you can sit in... So if you had to pay like £600 to go sit on the grass at Silverstone, in Bahrain, for that same amount, you essentially get like a luxury VIP treatment, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's, okay, you will forego the fact that it's hot and you are essentially melting sitting over there. But you get to sit right at exactly what you experienced. Sit in the garage with those headphones on. That's what you get for the same cost as Silverstone. Yeah. So why wouldn't you go for it?
Exactly.
It's a tough one. But the other thing that you had spoken about is, like, going for these tech sponsorships and doing it in a creative way. There are a lot of very subtle marketing things that we see on an everyday basis, right? When we watch the races. So the first one is, there's plenty, but I'm just going to break down some of the fun ones. One is the Aston Martin luxury palette green. So the color that they use, it's not British racing green. It's a separate Aston Martin green, which is exactly like British racing green, but just slightly shinier or whatever it is. I don't know what their logic is. But the fun thing, so when I was trying to do research about this particular thing, I went on their website to see what their green was all about. They have an AI-powered Alonso. Because Alonso is a driver for the team. And you can, you click him and he reads out the entire article to you in English, French, and Spanish. And they call it AI Alonso.
It's very good. It's very smart. I love the fact that my favorite thing I'm such a geek, but one of my favorite things in life in general is B2B marketing in a B2C format. So,
yes,
Aston Martin is B2C, which is direct to consumer, which is, you're selling a car, so fine. But I love the fact that, Salesforce will find a link about speed and performance and all of this great stuff. And when actually it's selling you a lead management system.
Yeah.
I love, CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is excellent at that. CrowdStrike is cybersecurity, but it's speed and it's got crazy names. And you have the sort of you understand what they do in the context of why they're sponsoring it. And you think that's quite cool. As a person on the street, I'm never going to buy CrowdStrike. I'm not going to interact with it, but I know them. And I think that's my favorite thing, is sort of how these tech companies, or these companies in general, find that link to the F1 to the consumer.
Yep.
I mean, Aston Martin, you know, historically the sort of British racing James Bond car, and they've just tweaked it slightly. So yes, that's creative marketing and sort of leveraging the slightly different color. But I think how all of them, actually, all the F1 teams do their marketing is very clever, very very intentional. And my favorite thing is how they link it to the sponsors. I think obviously because they have to. But they don't really. I mean, you know, you pay however much, you slap your logo, and that could be it. But no, I like the effort that goes into making it relevant. Some of the experiences are quite cool as well, and I just find that I find it really great. Like, it's not just about the obvious speed efficiency; it's about ultra luxury and ultra exclusivity and sort of rarity, because there's only 20 drivers in the world who do this, and I really appreciate the link to it, sort of the messaging. Again, my thing I'd love to know what it translates into. Just out of curiosity, like, what's the bottom line? What is the return on your investment? I just would love to know that. So if anybody's listening on the CrowdStrike marketing team, give us a call. Tell us what the ROI is. I'd love to know. We won't share it, just for my personal enjoyment.
Yeah. And also, it's like, so many fans buy merch, and all these sponsors are on their T-shirts, and essentially you become like a walking advertisement.
Walking billboard, yeah. Like, am I wrong in saying, Nisha, that, like, what's his name? Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
Tommy Hilfiger, right? He's one of the ambassadors. Okay, so he has, even on the collar, right? It's like a Tommy Hilfiger red, white thing. Even I noticed that. And like, I watched 10 minutes of the recaps when I remember, but like, I'm not, I mean, apart from the podcast, literally this is my F1 news, but I wonder what the deal was. Okay, so he goes to Ferrari. What is that sponsorship conversation like? Because he's not just a driver. He's a sponsor machine. And so is the deal with Lewis Hamilton or Tommy Hilfiger and Mercedes, as it were, and then it's transferred to Ferrari? What sponsorship does that move? Do we add another? I mean, the whole thing must be contractually very difficult, actually. But I like that they are effectively walking billboards with the massive, great big 400 grand watches that they wear. Those big, they look
Richard Mille.
About Richard Mille, big, huh? Big on the watch. Like, you can see them, like, look at my watch. And that's unattainable, right?
Yeah.
Don't they get stolen regularly? I'm sure I've read a story twice that F1 driver got robbed.
It is, but also, like, they have limited editions of those watches.
Oh
right?
My gosh, really?
So,
okay.
Yes, of course. In fact, just to go back to your Tommy Hilfiger, the mention of that, they had a contract with Lewis and Mercedes, and they left Mercedes to come to Ferrari.
Yeah.
Which is why I think Mercedes then got Adidas.
Oh, I see.
The watch one, the one that I find, like, of course, yes, they wear all these fancy watches. And if you see any of their interviews, they're constantly fidgeting, like touching their face, moving their cap. That's essentially to show the watch on screen, which I thought was very cool. But the other cool one is Mercedes, on their gloves that they use, their driving gloves. They have like a watch face. Yeah. So when they're driving about and I'm like moving the steering wheel, you can see the IWC watch.
It's great. It's really creative. I mean, to be fair,
Exactly.
if I'd paid that much money, I'd be creative. I would be like, right, every single opportunity to see my logo, I must maximize. But I guess, I don't know, it'd be interesting to know. You probably know this because you literally know everything. I wonder what percentage of their budget is from sort of marketing contracts. I wonder, that'd be interesting to know. You know,
I don't know this, but yeah, a large portion of, are you talking about like drivers' responsibilities? How much marketing they have to do?
No, in terms of sort of, you know, how much of their operating budget comes from marketing spend. So like brands
I would
sponsoring
think
them.
Like a large chunk of it, right? Yeah. Because now the teams do have a cost cap. They all can't spend beyond a certain budget. But if you need to like get money into the team for parts, if you need to, pay salaries, not driver salaries, but everyone else's salaries, you're going to need all of that marketing budget. You're going to need sponsors, which is why teams like Alpine go for people like Franco Colapinto, who doesn't have much experience, but he's from Argentina. And Latin America loves their motorsports. So he's brought in so many sponsors. And they're keeping him on, even though he's essentially crashing the car every second week.
Gosh, you see,
But
that's mad as well, because it's so, the permeation of marketing really is down now to driver choice, right? What market
Yes.
do we need to hit, guys? Do we have a good driver who might not be the best, which is historically what we've gone after, but we need to break into the, I don't know, Southeast Asian market. So who do
Yep.
we have? The fact that is, I'm going to
a consideration.
do a bad pun, driving it is insane, actually. I mean, it's interesting from a marketing point of view, but that is, I wonder how long that can last, because if that's a real consideration, which it probably is, you know, at least he
Yep.
brings in sponsor dollars. That's,
Yes.
what does that mean then? Is that going to dumb down the level? If marketing is a consideration of it, you know, marketing should be around what they already have, not driving it. But I guess this is why F1 is doing so well, because it's so, marketing is at the core of what it is.
Yep. But see, the thing is, the drivers who have to come up to F1 have already, you know, gone through the other like feeder series.
Yeah.
So they may not be truly the best of the best, but they're not bad. They're
Oh, no, I'm not saying they're
that they can't take
terrible,
off the car
but,
at
you
all.
know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. The other like subtle marketing stuff that I really like was one that McLaren had done, which was, if you see their tires, they have, because they're sponsored by Google, it's got those 4 colors of Google.
That's cool.
Yep. That's a cool one. And in their 2024 car, they had like these digital ad spaces on the sides of the cars, which kept changing. So every time that they would focus on the McLaren, and that was the year that they were starting to do better. So every time that the TV would show McLaren, you'd have a different sponsor on that side, which is, I mean, Zach Brown, kudos to him. He's a marketing genius. So everyone initially were talking about, oh, you're adding more tech to this, you're adding more weight, your car's going to be slow, blah, blah, blah. But the amount of money that he brought in with that tiny little ad was insane. And I love that kind of, those small subtle things, right? To make sure that you're bringing in the monies. The other one, which I really like, Red Bull, which is supposed to be a drinks company, but essentially it's a sports marketing company right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a sports marketing company. You're absolutely right.
And they had on Max Verstappen's suit the words "gives you wings," because he's already got Red Bull on the shirt, obviously, on the chest, right? But the "gives you wings" only showed up when he raises his hands to celebrate.
Fantastic.
So, right? It's so clever, because anytime that they win, they go up on their car and they like raise their hands. And that's exactly when you see it. Red Bull
Perfect.
gives you wings.
Red Bull is the epitome of marketing-led activity,
Yes,
because we forget they sell drinks half the time.
absolutely.
And yet everybody knows what they do
Yep.
through their crazy, the F1, the drinks, the whatever that guy was jumping
The
on
base
that
jumping
balloon.
thing. Yes.
Even I watched that, and I don't drink Red Bull. I had half a Red Bull once. Bad experience. But yeah, I think that is the epitome of keeping relevance and really sort of doubling down on, okay, the energy drink. Okay, what does it do? It's faster, it's better. Okay, so we do sport. Okay, so what do we do?
Yes.
Okay, so we go to the most exclusive, the most difficult to get into. We create a race. I mean, just insane. What they've done, they've created a whole basically different category for themselves, as like, almost it's not definable, because everything is so linked, and marketing and product pushing is at the core of it, really. I mean, genuinely. And they're the only ones who don't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't have a 5-name team, right? It's still just Red Bull.
Red
Is
Bull
it?
Racing. Actually, they're called Oracle Red Bull Racing,
Okay,
but that's
Oracle
still
Red Bull
better
Racing.
than, yeah.
No, just, you know, sometimes I'm like, gosh, that's
Yes.
a long name, because they've got to put all the sponsor names in it. But at least they're retaining their identity. It's Oracle
Yes.
Red Bull Racing. I can pronounce that. And I don't get them mixed up. When some of the drivers,
Yes.
I'm like, I think that's the other way around. I was supposed to say it. But so I think they're such an interesting case study in really good, focused, expensive, but ultimately successful long-term marketing.
But tell me, if I say the word energy drink, could you think of any other brand? Like, that's the first thing you'd say.
Red Bull. I'd say Red Bull. Monster? Is that a Monster
Monster
drink?
is the only other one. Yeah, but Monster is also something that I
That's
recently found out
I can't-
because of McLaren.
Oh, okay. Well,
Lando
that's
has his own Monster drink.
such
Yeah.
a Nisha thing. Nisha gets her brand names from the F1. I just heard about it, but I don't. Yeah, you're right. Energy drinks, Red Bull.
Yeah.
Even have a Red Bull. It might not even be a Red Bull that you're holding, but that's what you say. So
I think they've done what Xerox has done or Kleenex has done. Essentially, it's become the name for
Yeah.
energy drinks.
it's fantastic.
So,
It's really good.
yeah. I know that you watched the 40-minute WhatsApp ad
Sure
that
did.
came on Netflix, which was The Seat with
It was.
Kimi Antonelli, about Kimi Antonelli finding out that he's got the seat at Mercedes. So what were your thoughts? Like, what did you think of the show?
Well, I think I live texted you my
You
thoughts
did.
on the documentary. I love it. As a marketeer, it's a massive ad disguised as a documentary, and I am here for it. I think it's fantastic. I would have loved to have made it, because I'm all about doing impactful stuff, be it for the brand or in general. I think the fact they got it on Netflix is a genius move. I wonder how far in advance that got planned to do it. I think the authenticity was wonderful. I think it was such a not obvious move, because if I'm WhatsApp and I'm thinking, right, how do I leverage this?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about the communication tool that we use to tell Kimi Antonelli that he's now this F1 driver and blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like the creativity around it is fantastic. I thought the only thing that was a bit forced were these sort of obviously forced WhatsApp chats. Obviously, hello! Oh, hello! Like, this hasn't been done 20 times. That's cool, fine. In fact, it adds a certain charm to it. But I think I love the creativity behind it. And it's a really interesting move. I wonder what more brands are going to do. The only thing I would say is the importance of sticking to the authenticity of what it is that you're trying to show. So
Yes.
they did a good job of showing him. They did a good job of showing what it actually was about, even though it was product placement a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because I can see if it's done badly, the CMO breathing down everybody's neck going, we need more product. We need more this. We haven't put our key messages in there. He hasn't talked
yes.
about us in 5 minutes. That needs to really be ring fenced to
Yeah.
paradoxically make it successful. Like, you've
Yes.
got to keep the humanity in it. You've got to keep the authenticity in it, even if he doesn't say WhatsApp every 5 minutes. I loved it. I thought it was so creative, and I thought it was a lovely story, and I wonder what else they're going to do. It was a really, really interesting, well done, accessible thing. Like, if you're not an F1 fan, you would have watched that.
Correct.
Because it's a young, sweet Italian boy achieving his dreams
Yes.
via WhatsApp. Ta-da! Right? That is the thing. That's all it was.
Yes.
And I think F1 has particularly done extremely well at marketing itself. We'll talk about it, but sort of as of late, it's just been fantastic. Like, you can't fault them. Been fantastic.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's what sells it is the authenticity, right? Of seeing that boy achieving his dream, saying it on WhatsApp. And you then, like, honestly, when you're watching the documentary, you forget that this is a WhatsApp sponsored thing. And then, unless you have your marketeer brain on, and suddenly you're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Unless
So it was very well
exactly,
done.
unless you have the sort of, they're having the awkward WhatsApp FaceTime that Tony knows it's been done. But exactly, and if you, for a non-marketeer, you're thinking, oh, what a nice documentary. But
Yes.
for a marketer, you're thinking, God, that's good. That's
Yeah.
so creative. And
Why didn't I
like
think of that?
yeah, exactly. Why don't I think of that? But I think the other thing is, is the tension between this sort of radical authenticity that they want to show, this sort of radical humanity that they want to show,
Yes.
versus the sort of big corporate spreadsheet budget ROI that we're going to do. Because that's what collided. These massive corporations got together and produced this something that is not perfect, but pretty good in terms of the authenticity. And I like to see it. I love to see that creative stuff. Again, I like to see a tech company be human.
Yep.
And I think,
which is
I think that's a rare component of why the F1 marketing works, because they're big tech companies, but at the end of the day, it is 20 best drivers in the world. Okay, they're racing, they're not going anywhere, but they are risking their lives. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And that's where the humanity lies. So that's why it is successful, because there is actual jeopardy.
Exactly. And I think that's the next thing that we need to talk about, right? The Netflixization of motorsports. Because Drive to Survive it's like a slow burning revolution. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just opening the door slightly for someone to take a look. No, it absolutely kicked the doors down. Drivers, they went from like these helmeted enigmas to just absolute heartthrobs. So many people love them. So many people follow them on social media. Some of the drivers love it. Some of them hate it. Hello, Max Verstappen. But the biggest impact that this show has had is the massive young female audience who maybe have not grown up watching F1, but now are absolutely glued. Like almost 44% of viewers are female,
Really?
between the age of 25 to 35, which is so strange for a sport where you barely see any representation.
It's mad.
Right? There's like one female race engineer whose name is Laura, by the way.
There you go. Well done, Laura. I love it. I watched it just because it was on, and I wasn't into F1, and I thought, as a marketeer, God, this is a good ad. God, this is very well done. This is excellent, and it gets you interested. Again, the humanity of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll admit on this F1 podcast, I don't even know they spoke to anybody in the car before Drive to Survive. I just thought they just drove around. I didn't realise, genuinely, anybody spoke to anybody. Didn't know, wasn't the thing, could not care less. And now I'm like, they speak to each other and this is interesting and he hates him and why are they so competitive? I don't get it, but it's interesting. And I think, well, it's been replicated as well. It's so successful that now golf is trying to get ahead of it. Tennis is trying to get into it. And I think that is the point. I think it's a really, really good lesson for marketers to be human. Get to the human behind it. Just get to the meat of it. These people are risking their lives and they're ultra competitive and they've had to work so hard to get there. Show that.
Exactly.
Show that. So when everybody is thinking about their marketing campaigns, even if you're selling like us, if you're selling from one big company to another, we're still humans. If you sell to the human, you can't go wrong. And I think that is what F1 got really, really right. Because it's easy to get bogged down. It's easy to get bogged down in the technicality of it and the this of it and the that of it and you get to it once you're interested in it. But if you just show that this 20-year-old kid is going around a circuit that you've never heard of in a country you've never been to at 300 kilometers an hour and he might die.
Yeah.
And his mum's there, like in the pit. You're like, Jesus,
oh my God. Yes.
Like that is a human thing. Forget that Salesforce sponsor it. And then you get into it and then you have a colleague like Nisha who's like, have you watched this? And then you sort of get into it even more. But you have evangelists. But I think that's the whole, what they've got really well is they just market it to humans, to people.
Yes.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Speak to people.
And I think the next logical step for them was to go from the TVs to the theaters. And that is when the F1 movie comes into play, which was, I think it's still making so much money right now. It's still in theaters, by the way.
Is it? Well done.
It is. And I mean, I loved it, obviously. But as a fan, I did see a lot of inconsistencies and I did not like Brad Pitt. It's just, I mean, he's good looking, blah, blah, blah. But like, he looked like a block. There was nothing coming out of him, right? The only, honestly, throughout the movie, I was just watching the racing sequences, which was so beautifully shot to the point where I wish I could see every race like that in IMAX, because it is the most beautiful motorsport movie visually. There's no story. There's nothing. The women are like just lamps, essentially, can be replaced. But and that should annoy me quite a bit. But visually, it's so good, I would go watch it again. And I know that as part of research, you went and saw the movie.
I sure did. I took my podcast homework very seriously. And I went to something I would never have gone to see on my own. I have to admit, the F1 movie. I also have some reservations about Brad Pitt in general as an actor, but that's all right. They needed a star, right?
Yes, exactly.
It did what it said on the tin. I followed like a gaggle of girls leaving the theatre in London. Mm-hmm. There were brown girls, tick, tick, tick. They were young, tick, tick, tick. And the one Nisha of the group who knew about F1 was there. There was like 3 others. And they were walking up the stairs asking her questions. So wait a minute. So what does that mean? So wait, who would that work? Like, what does that mean? What does the race engineer do? I didn't realize this was so technical. And that's mission accomplished, because now they're going to pay attention. And I was thinking, oh, well done. Like, you literally converted, you sit through it for 1 hour and 40 minutes and you watch the cover.
Sure.
And you get it, 1 hour and 40 minutes. And I loved, it was a Sir Lewis Hamilton thing, so fine, it was represented, it was diverse, it was interesting. Mm-hmm. The story's a bit weird, but like, I think they could have, I think that was the only thing from a content, if we're going to talk marketing, perspective, they could have pushed. Because you could have done an F1 movie that had a good storyline. That would have been doubly good. Like, actually make it a good story, because you could have done that. But fine, like, you know, you can't have everything. It was a Jerry Bruckheimer thing, right? It was like a big blockbuster thing. So that's his style. And visually and technically, it was fantastic. I agree. Mm-hmm. I thought the young actor was very good. I thought I was a bit disappointed with the female sort of lead. I was like, why do they have to do the love story? Like, why couldn't they? But okay, fine. But equally, you learn a lot. Like, you, and it just gets you intrigued about F1. And like I say, when I walked out and I saw those girls actively asking questions to their one friend who knew a little bit about it, I was like, there you go. Yeah. That's mission accomplished. That's
exactly what
well
it is.
Done, Sir Lewis. Well done.
Yes. I think, like, so he was an executive producer, and I have a feeling he walked into that first script meeting, took a look at the story, and was like, this is nonsense. Just throw it in the bin. Put all your money into, like, 4K cameras and just get, like, the best shots. Forget the story. This is not happening. And I feel like the movie was a gateway drug to a very large audience. And perhaps they'll take some consideration and make the sequel with a better storyline. But it's exactly what it set out to accomplish, was to get fans. And luckily, after the movie had released, the 2 races that happened afterwards, I think was Silverstone and Austria, were super, super exciting. So if anyone who would have watched the movie and then watched the races, they would be like, oh, this is actually great. Just a note to all of them. There will be some races where you cannot overtake. Please do not get excited, but please don't give up on the sport as well.
It doesn't matter. They'll be hooked by then.
Yes,
that's the point.
Exactly.
And
that's the hope.
Yeah, it was just so good. And I wonder which other sport is going to follow suit and do a film about it. You know, like an actual almost like an introduction to it. Because
Yes.
that's what it was. That's what it was, right? An introduction to it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, like for my, it's not my sport, but like I'll happily watch 3 hours of show jumping, happily. And I watch it on a different level than people who just think you just sit on a horse and it does nothing. And so, you know, so are we going to equate it to that? What's the story around that? How do you show the excitement to somebody who doesn't care? Or how do you show that to somebody who's marginally interesting? It was a really good case study in how you do it. Yeah, you gotta have the big star, fine. And you have to have somebody involved who knows what they're doing. And, you know, arguably the biggest F1 star
Yes.
to ever have been, or maybe not outside of Schumacher, but like one of the biggest to be attached to it. But yeah, mission accomplished. It was, I mean, I watched the whole thing. So and I was like,
you did.
the things I do for you, Lev. I watched the Netflix WhatsApp thing, and I went to the cinema in London on my own at 3 p.m. to watch this thing on my holidays because I love you.
Oh, I feel so warm. But even the marketing of the movie, right? They basically shot all the scenes during races.
Yeah.
So you've already started your marketing from like a year in advance. The making of, I think I've seen more videos of the making of than the actual movie. So they've done all of that, like great marketing. Then you had Tamsin Idris, who was the younger driver in the movie, who turned up at the Met Gala in like Apex GP suit. And it's like, that is the level of marketing that they did for this movie, right? So it makes sense because at this point, you are running out of your old petrol heads, men, essentially, who've been watching the sport for so long. You need to make room for whoever else is coming in. So that includes like women, young women, and of course, also building a new pipeline for like really, really young fans. And that's kids. Yeah. And the way they're doing that, the way F1 is doing that, is through this amazing giant partnership with Lego. So you can buy Lego cars and you can build it at home. And they're all like the exact brand of the livery. Everything is exactly what you see on screen. So if you're a kid, and it's not just Lego, by the way, it's the baby version. Even Duplo has F1 cars that you can buy, which is insane. They're starting them off very, very young. In fact, if you need more people in the sport, if you need more girls in the sport, you need them to start that young and be interested in motorsports and do all the feeder series, karting, whatever it is. And maybe someday we'll have an F1 female driver, which would be awesome.
Yeah, she'll be an instant superstar as well.
Yes, and the sponsorship and the marketing will be amazing.
Insane.
But the last bit that we need to talk about, because when we say F1 and marketing, you cannot forget Lewis Hamilton, the man, the myth, the legend. So Lewis entered F1 in 2007 as a McLaren rookie, and he immediately shook the paddock. Because he nearly won the championship in his very first season.
Oh.
Rookie sensation, that's what you'd call him. He was a marketing dream. He's the first black driver in F1 history. He has a lot of initiatives to ensure that there is diversity in the sport. And of course, his switch to Ferrari, which is a team that's bigger than the sport as well. And Lewis, who is bigger than the sport as well. It's the greatest collaboration in sports history. If you look at all of these things, you can see why he would be a PR dream. But do you think that this would be the most successful PR story in F1?
Well, I think two things. His backstory is fantastic. His backstory is like a film, just in general. Mm-hmm. Even I know his backstory. I've heard it somewhere outside of F1. Right? I've heard the rags to riches. So everybody loves a rags to riches story. So I think just by getting himself up there, there's a relatability to it. A lot of these kids are privileged in F1. He absolutely wasn't. Then he stands out. His dad's black, his mum's white. He's got that just cool swag about him. And honestly, he gets it. There's no better marketeer in F1 than Sir Lewis Hamilton. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. He absolutely knows what he's doing.
Absolutely knows what
and that's great. And he embraced it, and he's built it up. I think I want to say the beginning of his career, he was probably focused on the racing. And then when he got the pop star girlfriend, and it was an insane amount of media pressure, and he was young, and then he started figuring out, hang on a minute, I don't have to just live this. I can actually shape it, and I can do what I want with it. Right? I think that I've seen the evolution of like young kid doing super well, getting so much media attention, you know, probably not, you know, having these fights on the track he used to have, to then sort of maturing into it and being like, hang on a minute, I'm a sir now, and I can decide to wear what I want, and I can harness the story that I want to harness, and then I can do what I want with it. So I'm going to wear what the hell I want when I do the grid walk thing. I'm going to represent fashion, etc. It is an extension of him, but he's harnessed it. He's fantastic at brand Sir Lewis. And then he's going to do, now it's evolved to the highest point of what it evolves is to the altruistic part. He's done all his own branding. He's sold whatever he's going to sell. He's partnered with who he wants to partner. He's made more money than he knows what to do with. He's got the bulldog, the vegan bulldog, right?
Yes.
He's vegan, tick, tick, tick. And now he's the altruistic stuff of like giving back, making it diverse. He's found his platform. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't have a PR manager. I'm not saying he doesn't have a manager.
He does.
That they've probably had a brainstorm at some point to be like, let's do something and let's harness you. But he knows what he's doing. The best marketeer in the game is Sir Lewis Hamilton, because he's got the foundation that you need to be a superstar in whatever sport you're in. He's got the rags to riches. He's got the poise. He's got the cool swag. He seems like a nice dude. Like when on interviews, he's not sort of, he was effing, now he sort of seems to be less ragey and less competitive. He just seems to sort of be, now, you know, this latest thing with the Ferrari, they should change driver, all of that. See, I follow, Nisha, I followed it.
Yeah.
It was on the news. It was on BBC News. The fact that he said that, right? That sort of, it's even a story arc. Even just, if you just look at the Ferrari thing, it's a story arc. He gets hailed as the next best thing, and then it doesn't happen for him. It's not happening for him. So we're in the trenches of the film. Ooh, dark, rainy, not great. And then he's going to go back up and it's going to be fantastic. But that's his life. And I think, well, we hope so, but you know what I mean? And you know what? Even if it doesn't, hasn't he won more than anybody else? Like he's still, right?
He's tied with Michael Schumacher.
Okay. So we need him to win one more, right? And then he can be the best of all time. Okay. Get on it. Win one more. But you know what I mean? Like I think, the best marketeer is Sir Lewis Hamilton because he's Sir Lewis Hamilton and he's harnessed it. I think some of the other drivers could learn from it, but also they're not inclined to. Like some just don't care. And that's cool too. You're just never going to reach the heights that he reaches then. And that's okay. But I also think there's something in his background. He's got that hunger because he didn't have it. All these other privileged kids don't probably work on their personal branding. Okay, yeah, they're focused on winning the races, right? But they've never had to like wonder where they're going to sleep or watch that, you know, I've seen, you know, their dad had 3 jobs to get the old broken go-kart and all that stuff. Like there is that hunger within him. Probably from a mindset of this could all go away tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably like there's probably that fire in him that the others don't have because they've never had to have it. There is something in underprivileged, being black in an all-white sport, no money, being the ultimate outsider and just having this pure raw talent.
Yes.
That he developed into this like constant hunger to do something. So I also think there's probably that he just, you know, and that's why he is the F1 recognizable driver.
Yes. And beyond F1, to be fair.
Exactly, beyond F1. He's a marketeer's dream. You know, and he's also got that authenticity about him in interviews. Of course he's media trained to the hilt, but we media train people for a living. And I don't mind his media trained answers because he delivers them in an authentic way. Again, human, like he did. And he says something I probably, if his PR manager would have been thrilled that he said they need to change driver. I would have been like, no, we've just signed this massive contract. I probably wouldn't have been too thrilled, but it's turned around because now he's got this outpouring of support and blah, blah, blah. Like, he's legendary, I think, just because he knows what he's doing and because
Yeah.
there's an authenticity that shines through. Some also
Yes.
have it, but he's got it to the nth degree, I think, just through his upbringing.
Yes, that's true. And he's not just a great marketer for the sport itself, even for himself. Like, he is, because of the, as you mentioned, the fashion, right? What he wears on the grid and things like that. He was invited to be co-chair at the Met Gala this year. And he was instrumental in bringing that theme forward. So, which is a huge deal for a sports person
Exactly,
to be
yeah.
at the front end of fashion, right? He also has his own products and things that he sells. So one of them is this zero alcohol tequila that he launched last year. It's called Almave. And I really loved that launch campaign because the way he did it was he first created a fake burner account with the name of the product and a bunch of dates, right? A bunch of numbers, not even dates. And of course, like F1, the Instagram detectives are the best set of people to go on this like crazy hunt with. They went and found the registration that he had done for the business. They found those papers and they realized what the company was and they started talking about it. And people started creating designs for his tequila brand. And he used those images on his Twitter page. Like he would change his, like, it's so easy. There's zero money being spent here. He just created a fake Instagram account.
Let me just debunk that. As a marketer, you know, there's a PR agency, a branding agency, a marketing agency, an agent.
I'm sure.
A PR. Are you kidding me? There's millions of dollars spent on that. But I agree, the activation was probably quite cheap.
Yes,
Let's just
exactly.
There's a lot of money. But that's great. That's fantastic. And that's why he can leverage it. And I think that that creativity, I think it boils down to creativity and authenticity. Yes. That's the two things. And you can apply that. F1 have done it brilliantly, but you can apply it to pretty much anything and it's going to sell. And marketers forget that because we get bogged down in, well, a lot of us don't have the power to sort of be radically creative and authentic and empathetic, fair. But like a lot of marketing leaders forget that because, oh, well, what do I know? I'm selling this. Well, no, you're still selling to humans. That's it. You're selling to humans. So be authentic and be as creative as you can. And it does work. And I wish we saw more of it. Genuinely, I respect really good marketing. That's why I entertain this F1 thing, because I respect it. It's bloody great. It's good marketing. And so I will give you my eyeballs for a 10-minute recap of a race. Because I'm sorry, love, I'm not watching the whole thing. I can't. It's too much.
No, that's fair.
I have other things to do. But, you know, I respect it, and I do think more brands could benefit from it. And actually, it would just make our enjoyment of these things even better, actually. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't, and they've just led the way. So I'm excited to see which other sport that I don't know about is going to come up with some really good marketing.
Honestly, I mean, I really like your show jumping idea. Like, who do I have to let them know to get started on this? Because I want to know, I want to see this.
I know. The difficulty with show jumping is like to get over the sort of the eliteness of it, or the perceived eliteness of it. And there are a bunch of individuals. There's not really many teams. It's individuals competing. So you'd have to have like the federation to do marketing. Anyway, you know, you'd have to do that.
To be fair, F1 is also a very elite sport.
Oh, right? Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I think I would be interested to know, like, to just learn a bunch of horsey names, watch them struggle, rags to riches story.
Well, we need to find a rags to riches story of a rider, and that might be a tad difficult. They are also very privileged because it's a very expensive sport. I don't know, maybe I'll start a show jumping 101 podcast. Yes, there you go.
I'll start watching the races? No. What would you call it?
No. The jump over stuff, love. They just jump over stuff. The Grand Prix, they're also called.
Ah, fantastic.
Mais oui, I mean, he's French.
Oh, perfect. Because we've come to the point of the show where we normally do an F1 jargon.
Oh,
but
yes.
today, we're going to start the only game show that tests your tongue and your Formula One knowledge. It is the French F101 quiz.
Woo!
So, Laura, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I need you to provide the answer in the way that it's supposed to be pronounced, not in the way that I butcher the French accent every single time that I attempt it.
I enjoy it.
So-
I love it.
And your time starts now. First question. The Monegasque man with the smoothest pole laps in F1.
Okay, are you ready? Charles Leclerc.
Ooh, those rolling R's. You have to teach me how to do that properly. A French F1 driver who still has a house in Milan and pays taxes in his French municipality.
Well done, Pierre Gasly.
Yes. Okay, this one trips people up all the time. World champion and full-time chaos magnet in the commentary box.
All right, are you ready? Jacques Villeneuve.
Ooh, and his father?
Gilles Villeneuve.
Perfect. So let's go even older now. The driver, also popularly known as the Professor.
Alain Prost. He's tiny, right? Is he the tiny
He's
French?
very tiny.
Yeah, tiny. Alain Prost. I know who he is.
And now let's move over to the tracks. There's a famously wide blue striped circuit for the French GP. Say it with flair, Laura.
Paul Ricard. I just shouted. Sorry, wasn't massively.
I love it. Okay, we were here a few weeks back. The Belgian GP is held at...
Okay, I have to say, I listened to that episode. It was pretty funny. Spa-Francorchamps. I know it's difficult.
Exactly. And it is home to some of the best corners, which is...
Eau Rouge and Radillon.
Yes! There is a famous tunnel in the Monaco circuit. What are the corners or turns before and after called?
Portier and, you ready? Nouvelle Chicane. But I think it should be Nouvelle Chicane. So that's weird. But it's Nouvelle Chicane.
I'm gonna go with your version because...
Where? It sounds better, I know.
Yes, it does sound better. And finally, what is the governing body for this sport, also known as the FIA?
You've said it a few times on this podcast. You've said Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile.
Yes, that is perfect. And congratulations, you've just won yourself a one-way trip to F1 information station that includes an all-expense-paid non-stop tour guide who is fairly fluent in motorsports yapping. Yes, it's me. You're locked in for life. No refunds. Thank you for playing, Laura.
You're very welcome. I loved that. It's because sometimes when I do hear some of French, I'm like, I mean, I love it. I love the flair with it, but I'm like, that's not how you say it.
You don't.
But that's okay.
You don't have to. Well, Laura is half French. And
yes, we should probably say that. Yes.
Yes. And that's exactly why we designed this quiz, just so that we can hear it right at least once.
You could clip it. You could just clip my answers next time.
Yes. I'll do that the next time. I just have to talk about, the Ferrari driver.
Charles Leclerc.
Exactly. But we could talk on and on for hours because, believe me, we do talk about this for hours.
We do.
But before we sign off, I have one last question for you, Laura, which is, what is your boldest prediction for the 2025 season?
Well, I've got two that I will actually watch every race recap of the 2025 season. That's a prediction. Might not happen.
Yes.
And I think... I've forgotten his name. What's the Australian one at McLaren? Piastri.
Oscar Piastri.
I think he might win the World Championship. That's my prediction.
I think so too. But we're on summer break now, and usually when drivers come back after a summer break, they're very renewed with energy and enthusiasm and that, need to win. So I don't know which way it's going to go. Lando might come out looking stronger because that's what happened last time. So I'm very excited to see where this goes.
I'm cool with either. Lando's British, so go Lando. Yeah. But I just think Piastri's got that cool, calm, collected vibe that I quite like.
I like him too. I much prefer him to Lando.
I know. We know
but-
you have this irrational hatred of Lando Norris for some reason. I listen to the podcast. I know.
I know. And the number of times that, like, after an episode, I get comments from certain listeners, you know who you are, just telling me, what is with your Lando bias? Can you
I
please
know. I don't know
not do
why.
this to my favorite driver?
Because if he's going to come on this podcast, you're going to have some explaining to do.
That is true. That is
You must
true. I'm
remain
sorry.
neutral to all drivers.
Yes, okay. I like all drivers equally.
Well done.
But to our amazing listeners, what do you think? Drop your hot takes in the comments and send us a message or tag us in your wildest predictions. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share F101 with friends because this community is just getting started. If you have any queries or you want to be a friend on the pod, please reach out to me on Instagram. The link is in the description. Thank you, Laura, for being on this episode. I've been your host, Nisha, and I'll see you on the next episode of F101 with Friends.